Oh, well, hello there, you beautiful, wonderful, incredible, intelligent human. I'm Andrea Don, and today we are here exploring more yoga asana, or the physical postures of the yoga practice. It's always my intention to spread some light on how we can make these physical postures be more about the true goal of yoga and be a gateway into discovering more of the truth of who you are. Today we're going to do that through side plank or Vasisthasana. And Vasishtha was a great sage who taught us that we are not the mind body. So this is a great example of how we can use the physical practice to go beyond our own physicality and our misidentifications that are leading to our suffering. So let's dive right in. Each posture in the physical yoga practice has a Sanskrit name ending in asana, meaning seat or posture. And today we will explore side plank. Side plank is known as Vasisthasana. We see Vasishtha, who was a great sage, and asana, which means seat. Side plank is a more modern pose of which we do not see until the 20th century with Pattabhi Jois and Ashtanga Yoga. This brings us to the why behind Vasisthasana. The Western culture of yoga runs the program of yoga equaling asana or physical postures. As part of the dismantling of this inaccuracy, I always like to present the deep-seated why behind all of yoga before diving into the specific physical benefits. While this may feel repetitive, as we know with our physical postures, repetition is key to pedagogy. Both the strength and flexibility gained by practicing physical asana consistently promotes the ability to sit for longer periods of time. Asana also contributes to cultivating one-pointed focus, or dharana, as well as building the stamina, discipline, and commitment necessary to have or even desire to have a meditation practice. The physical why behind Vasisthasana is more so about the strength and balance than the stretch. Side plank benefits the entire physical body, more specifically the deep spinal stabilizing muscles known as the quadrates lumborum, as well as the shoulders, hips, and obliques. Holding side plank pose will increase your stamina and your stability in all other postures. Vasisthasana can have symbolic, metaphoric, and meaningful significance to your own personal why. When we consider the Sanskrit, we see Vasishtha, the great sage. So who was this great sage? And what can he teach us about ourselves today? You may or may not have heard of the Hindu Trinity, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, the creator, the sustainer, and the destroyer. Vasishtha was the first of Lord Brahma's mind-born sons, and he was for the purpose of helping us understand and reduce all of the sorrow and suffering that comes along with having a human experience. So Lord Brahma cursed Vasishtha so that he would not know his true divine nature and therefore genuinely experience the torments of life in human form. Vasishtha went to his father in utter desperation, asking why he and others were suffering so deeply. Brahma revealed to Vasishtha that we are not the body-mind, that our true nature is divine, unbound, and limitless. With this knowledge, Vasishtha understands that it is required of humans to train the mind, to commit to a spiritual practice, and to realize that our presence is a prerequisite to experiencing our infinite nature. This lesson reminds me of tapas, or the discipline required to hold side plank. This same discipline is necessary to cultivate, fortify, and protect our mind space. It may seem paradoxical that strength and discipline are the building blocks for ease and peace and presence, yet upon further examination, it's quite logical. Whatever we choose to focus on daily with the intention of expansion and growth and the commitment of our time, our energy, and our effort will result in an environment of which we can thrive. In this type of cared for environment, our presence is enabled and we can detect the weeds of misidentification or our suffering, as well as recognize our true identity with the seeds of the infinite Atman, or who we really are. So again, we come back to the same as in plank pose, recognizing that strength and commitment and discipline and boundaries and showing up and doing what we may not feel like doing are necessary to experience presence. I compare it to my kindergarten classroom. If I set no rules and had no boundaries, toys are all over the place, people are getting hurt, it's chaotic. However, when there are clear and firm boundaries, when there are two different toys set out on the rug, the experience is much different. It's one of collaboration, of sharing, of learning how to work together. And the projects and things that we built when we had this firm set boundary was so much more expansive than in the chaos of there being no rules. So giving ourselves that realization of, I need to have these things set in place for myself so that I don't get in the way of myself when I don't feel like it. Oh, it's too much, it's too hard. Those are the activities that when we engage in them, create the ability for us to experience the presence of which is necessary for us to realize that true nature. Because it's only in that presence can we identify what we are misidentifying with. I believe on my job, I believe on my bank account, I can't be happy if it's this person's fault, right? The victim, the blame, all of these things cannot have awareness, cannot be dismantled if we are not present. So it's creating that structure that creates the freedom. And now we'll demo our Vasisthasana. So in your practice, you can remember this great sage and you can remember why maybe you'll hold it a few breaths longer than you think that you can. So I'm going to start this posture from a plank position. So you can go back to the previous video to find a demo on plank. I'm not going to explain all of the intricacies of plank. We're just going to get into our plank pose. And from our plank pose, we're going to roll onto the outer blade edge of one foot. In this case, it's my left foot. So I'm stabilizing here. I've got my left hand spread, fingers gripping, strong in the shoulder, and I'm not hyperextending the elbow. I'm going to swivel onto the outer blade edge of my left foot and then stack my right foot on top. So what I'm doing is creating a straight line from the outer blade edges to my hips, which are in kind of a stacked position, to my shoulder, to the crown of my head. Now I want to make sure my hips aren't sagging, right? So I'm squeezing my inner thighs and I'm lifting, using the obliques to lift. Okay, and then from there, I'm going to extend the arm. So I'm going to think about the arm extending from the collarbone so that the arm goes straight up and then the gaze will follow. Okay? Lots of different ways you can modify. You could stack this right foot in front. You could bring the arm down. You could set the right foot more in front with a bent knee. You could bring this bottom leg down, bend the knee, kickstand the foot, be somewhere like this, be somewhere like this. You could also do a forearm plank where the forearm is down, the elbows under the shoulder. It's the same setup, but you're on your forearm. Same thing. Same ways you can modify here, right? And there's also ways that you can add in some stretch. So we talked about this being a little bit more about strength and balance, but you could do things like, if it's available to you, right? You could do things like adding the big toe hold, so you're getting a big stretch in the back of the lifted leg. Okay? Again, so many different variations, none of them equal better. What's better is your awareness around what your body needs and gifting that to yourself on that particular day. So I hope you enjoy side plank. I hope it holds a deeper meaning for you and you can remember Vasisthasana, the great sage, and perhaps start noting the things that you are believing that you are, or the things that you are believing make you worthy. I'm only worthy if I'm in a relationship, if I have so much money, if I have the career I want, so that we can start to release those things and find our true nature, and then we achieve or get closer to achieving the true goal of nature. That's Svarupe Vastanam, residing in our true nature. Always a blessing, honor, and privilege my heart sees and feels and smiles to yours. Namaste.